Hello, everyone. My name is John, and I'm a former forensic officer. Today, I'd like to share with you a terrifying night I experienced during my time as a police officer. Although I was a forensic officer, I've always had an interest in horror stories and a bit of a sixth sense, which led me to collect numerous strange experiences from fellow officers over the years. Through these stories, I hope to provide you all with some intriguing moments. As I recount this story, I've added some embellishments for narrative coherence. While ensuring that no individuals are identified, I would also like to express my heartfelt gratitude to my 2 grandchildren who listened to my old stories, wrote them down, and made them into videos. Now, let's begin the tale. This is a terrifying account of a night patrol, during which I encountered the place where an old woman's shoe appeared. Enjoy the story. One late night, I was patrolling a strangely quiet residential area by car. It was a peaceful night with no major incidents. While driving and chatting with my partner, I spotted something unusual on the side of the road. It was an old, worn-out shoe. The shoe looked as if someone had hastily discarded it by the roadside. Normally, we would treat such an item as a simple lost property. But there was something eerie about this shoe. We stopped the car to take a closer look. The shoe appeared very old, as if it had been used for a long time. But strangely, it was not dirty at all. Upon further inspection, we found an unfamiliar, old piece of paper tucked inside the shoe. The paper seemed to have some writing on it, but it was too old to decipher. We decided to take the shoe back to the police station for a detailed investigation. However, that was just the beginning of the strange occurrences. From the night we brought the shoe to the station, bizarre phenomena started happening around us. That night, we examined the shoe in detail at the police station. Under the bright lights, we checked the inside of the shoe again, but found nothing new. Still, the old piece of paper intrigued us, so we showed it to our forensic colleagues. That night, I went home as usual. The next morning, when I arrived at the station, I noticed that my colleagues were unusually agitated. When I asked, they told me that one of the colleagues who had examined the shoe experienced something strange the previous night. He heard footsteps in the empty corridors of the police station at midnight and went to check but found nothing. The strange phenomena continued. Surveillance cameras in the police station switched off by themselves, and items fell without anyone touching them. Those who knew about the shoe began whispering that it might be connected to these incidents. One night, while working late, I felt something in the station. When I turned around, I saw the shadow of an old woman at the end of the corridor for a brief moment. The sight was so sudden that I doubted my own eyes. I quickly approached, but there was no one there, only a lingering eerie feeling. The next day, when I shared my experience with my colleagues, several others came forward with similar stories of seeing the old woman's figure. It seemed that since the shoe was brought to the station, everyone had been seeing the same old woman. I became convinced that the shoe was more than just a lost item. To deal with this eerie phenomenon, we decided to investigate the origin of the shoe. First, we checked for any recent missing persons or suspicious activities around the area where the shoe was found, but found no relevant cases. We then sought the help of experts to gather more information about the shoe itself. We consulted local historians and spiritualists with the shoe and the piece of paper. The historian suggested that the shoe likely dated back to the early 20th century, but had no further information. The spiritualist, however, turned pale upon seeing the shoe and said, "This shoe might belong to someone who experienced a great tragedy in the past." She added, "The owner's soul might be trying to convey something." That night, we experienced even more abnormal phenomena at the police station. After returning the shoe, as I approached the room where the shoe was kept, I heard low groaning sounds from inside. Cautiously entering the room, I saw the old woman's figure again. This time, it was clearer, and her face was filled with agony. Summoning my courage, I called out to the old woman, "Who are you? "What do you want to tell us?" She briefly looked at me, as if trying to speak, but disappeared in the next instant. However, another old piece of paper was left in the corner of the room, this time clearly saying, "Help me." This event made us realize that we needed to learn more about the shoe's owner. We began to search police archives and local old newspapers. We soon discovered the case of an old woman who had gone missing from a nearby residential area decades ago. This woman, who disappeared near her home, was never found despite extensive searches. We delved deeper into the case. The records indicated that the missing woman's name was Maria Johnson. She was well known in the local community and beloved by the neighborhood children. However, one day, she vanished without a trace. The police conducted a wide search but found no clues. We contacted Maria Johnson's family to learn more about the circumstances at the time. Her daughter mentioned that there was nothing unusual about her mother on the day she disappeared. However, she recalled her mother expressing anxiety the day before, saying, "Something bad is going to happen." The daughter didn't think much of it at the time, but now believed it might have been a premonition. We decided to re-examine the last place Maria was seen. The site had changed over the years, but we meticulously searched the area. To our surprise, we found Maria's diary and the other shoe in an old warehouse near the scene. The diary detailed Maria's experiences just before her disappearance. She felt she was being followed and noted someone loitering around her house. The last page read, "I pray someone will help me," suggesting she felt threatened. We realized that Maria's disappearance was likely not an accident, but the result of foul play. We believed that bringing the shoe back had somehow allowed her soul to reach out to us for help. Determined to solve this case, we continued our investigation, using the diary as a lead. We spoke to residents who lived in the area at the time. Fortunately, some were still around and provided valuable information. An elderly neighbor recalled seeing a suspicious man around Maria's house before she disappeared. This man was persistently lurking around her home. To gather more information, we searched old newspapers and police records about the suspicious man. We discovered that he had a criminal record. His name was Jeffrey Smith, who lived in the area at the time, but disappeared shortly after Maria's disappearance. We tracked Jeffrey Smith's whereabouts using existing records and eyewitness accounts. Eventually, we found that he had been sighted in a neighboring town. We immediately went there and located him. Confronting Jeffrey Smith, we questioned him about the incident. Initially, he denied everything but soon began to contradict himself. Ultimately, he confessed to being involved in Maria's disappearance. He had targeted her for her possessions, and when she resisted, the situation escalated, leading to her murder. Based on Jeffrey's confession, we located Maria's remains. Alongside her body, we found the other shoe she had been wearing when she disappeared. The case was finally solved, and Maria's soul could rest in peace. Our investigation brought closure to the long-unsolved disappearance of Maria Johnson. As police officers, we sometimes encounter phenomena beyond scientific explanation, and this case was particularly memorable. Through this experience, I learned the importance of relentlessly pursuing the truth, even in the face of adversity. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to my 2 grandchildren who listened to my old stories, wrote them down, and turned them into videos. To our viewers, if you have any strange experiences, please share them in the comments. We appreciate your support in helping our channel grow. Please like, subscribe, and offer advice to my grandchild, who used a handy editing software to create this video.